Hey guys, Gabe Suarez here. We're dealing with the fundamentals of marksmanship from the Pistol Gunfighting 1 class. So because we have a lot of students now that are running the double action pistols, we want to address managing these. Now, there are people online that will tell you, well, you know, these are antiquated, they're old style, they're slow, and no, they're not. Don't listen to them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They think they do, but they don't. Okay? There is nothing about this that's slow. And this has attributes that are desirable over a striker fired pistol. Okay? Now, I'm not telling you that this is better. There are good and bad points to everything. Nothing's free. But don't think for 1 minute that this is going to slow you down or do anything other than provide a sound platform for you to work from. Now, there are some things that you need to concern yourselves with. Okay, one is trigger. All right, now I'm doing a dry drill, so I'm checking to make sure. Okay, now trigger on these. These are called double action. They're really triple action. Okay, you operate the trigger in 3 different ways. The first one is straight through to the rear. Now, there are people that are teaching double action shooting. And they say just go right to the rear every single time. Okay, I got it. Can you make that work? Yeah. Are there things that you can do to make it work better? Yeah. Now, my background with double action pistols, my first semi-auto pistol was a SIG 226. I carried that on duty for years until I wore it out, and SIG would not replace it. So, out of spite, I went to Smith & Wesson. And you know what? Matter of fact, hold that thought. Ha-ha. This is it right here, guys. This is my Duty 5906. Boy, if this could talk, I'm glad it can't. But I carried this on duty through, you know, most of my law enforcement career until, you know, the whole world went to Glocks and everything else. And this has a absolutely wonderful double action trigger pull. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a heavy, clunky gun. It's got sharp edges everywhere. But yeah, I carried this, and in gosh, I remember it was 89 or 90. I went and did the Gunsight 250, and this is the pistol that I took. And the class was populated by a bunch of famous agency SWAT guys with their 1911s. You know, Cooper was very proud of them and everything else. And I believe I smoked all of them in the after class competition. You know, on what was it, on Saturday, and shot the top score and everything else with this guy right here. Okay, so you know, this is not slow. And look, don't tell me that. You know, it's because I'm really good and I'm nothing special. Okay. If you learn to run what you're given and you learn to run it well, you can do amazing things. Okay. Now, what I did was there were 3 ways to run the double action, and I researched this stuff. I read books. There were no books about semi-automatic double action pistols back then, but there's plenty of books on revolver, and my first duty pistols were revolvers. So I got really good at working double action. And so I read everything by Keith. I read everything from Jordan, you know, McGivern, all those guys. And those guys were all revolver dudes. And even though they didn't explain it in the way that I'm going to, the gist of it was exactly the same. All right. If you have an easy target up close, just press straight through. It's no big deal. Just press straight through because the target is big and it's up close, you know, and you've got a lot of mass. And if the trigger has been worked correctly, it's not going to move. It's not going to drive the pistol when you're managing the trigger. So I'm going to aim at the camera right here. Okay, now this is the full. Okay, and you can see that I'm working the trigger, and this muzzle, it's moving a little bit because it has to, but it's not moving a great deal. Now, semi-automatic pistols that are double action from the factory come with a horrendous trigger because everybody's afraid of liability. Fortunately, there are gunsmiths that can, you know, make these things better, smoother, reasonably lighter, and absolutely crisper. Some of those guys are, Josh and Paul over at Suarez International. There's others too. I know Langdon's doing a lot of good work with Berettas, and there's a couple of guys that are working on SIGs, and CZs and stuff like that. But the guys at Suarez International do a fantastic job, and they've worked on all my CZs. But anyway, so the first type is just press straight through when you have a close-in target. Okay. Now look, going from holster to this is no slower than doing the same thing with a Glock. It's no slower. Anybody that tells you different doesn't understand, and they don't know. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one is, and that works from 0 to about, 7 yards for upper thoracic hits. When you start getting beyond that, or let's say 5 yards, and you have, all you have is like the bad guy's peeking around the corner, and all you see is his eye. Okay, smaller target, you still got to hit it. Why wouldn't you? Okay, so the way you work the trigger then is like this. Okay, watch. Okay, I bring it back and I hold. Now basically what I've done is I've turned this double action trigger into a single action trigger. I verify and then I break through. So the first one we talked about is this. Bad guy's coming to kill you. Oh no! Boom. Okay, cool. Second one, eyeball shot, across the room, or a headshot at 25 yards. Stage, pause, verify, press. Okay, just like that. All right, mode number 2. The third one, you realize that you have a long shot. You realize you have a very difficult shot. Okay, as the hands come together, thumb cock the hammer. Okay, this is how it works. As the hands come together, thumb cock the hammer. Okay, if I'm running the CZs, okay, as the hands come together, see what I'm doing here? Okay, just like this. There. Okay, so now with the CZs, close range target, boom, press straight through, no big deal. Big target, no issues. The second way, a little bit more of a difficult target, a little bit farther away. Stage, breakthrough. Stage, break straight through. The third mode, thumb cock on the way up, and I've got a single action pistol. Okay, now single action on these is ridiculous. There is a limit to what you can do with these and keep them safe. Okay, you have to have pre-travel. Okay, if you have no pre-travel, it's an unsafe gun. I don't care what anybody tells you. You need this in any striker fired pistol. Okay, but they are all going to be 3.5 to 4 pounds. Anything below that on a striker fired pistol is going to be unreliable or unsafe. Okay, this one, that's just at 3 pounds. That's just at 3 pounds. Okay, so I thumb cock this on the way out, boom, and I basically got a 1911 type trigger that I can work with. Okay, and I can take amazing shots. Now, if you start off with something like this, okay, one of the SP01s, okay, this single action, this is more like maybe 2 1/4. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's a fantastic trigger. I am not carrying this one yet because I haven't had a lot of time on the range with it, but you know what, the day may come. It's a little heavier, but if you're working appendix carry, it's unnoticeable. Doesn't really make any difference. All right, so anyway, 3 modes. Press straight through double action, stage, and then go right to single action. That's how you run these. All right.